Transition live.
Yeah, see, and
Again.
that's like I was saying, guys. That's how Abraham Lincoln and Santa Claus both work together to save the power. Oh, hey guys, we're live. What's going on?
Wait, I thought that was the
I didn't see you there.
the robot turkey of Christmas Futures Past. Or something.
That's right. Oh man, well, him and the Brood Witch got together, and from what I understand, but that's actually going to be the premise for the crossover episode with Jason coming back. So we don't want to tell
Jason Voorhees.
Well, now that's new for me. I didn't know. Okay, guys. So
the first part of our 6-part arc before we get kicked off one more time. We're talking about the Rangers gone psycho, Carlos on call, and a rift in the Rangers. We're kind of just talking about them willy-nilly. I kind of want to just start with the middle one because that one was just like neither here nor there.
Yeah, like I said before, it was just kind of a filler episode that they just kind of shoved the Psycho Ranger stuff into the beginning of.
Yeah.
But also, like, I like the development for Carlos. This is like one of his first kind of like a real human moment, you know, because that kid, man, like I would have hit that kid too. And you know he was about murdering her. Like after he like blew up and he was in bed and he was just like, I know what I gotta do. I gotta murder her.
Well, no. See, the correct train of thought for that would have been, all right, I'm gonna hit up Astronema, have her send down the Psycho Rangers to this kid, and then it's solved.
Yeah, that's it. I'll show up 10 minutes after they've been
right.
You know, what? Oh no! Or
but
you can just hire Alpha to kidnap a kid because
that works too. So I actually have something from this episode.
What?
What do you have?
Oh yes! Those are the photos.
Hold on. Let me turn my blur off here. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait.
Why do you have that? May I ask?
He came to the our live viewing, and he had them. He had those.
What?
Yeah, promos. He does them actually at the cons. So this way fans can actually have a moment of, oh my God, you know, like I saw that Carlos is, which is so dope.
Okay.
That is super freaking cool. That is super cool.
Be able to see that.
Yeah, shout out to Roger Velasco. He brought them to the live thing and actually gave them out. Didn't charge or none of that BS stuff. He gave them out to the fans there, signed them, and hand them out.
Dude, he's super cool. He's always willing to take photos when he comes to our events, like, stick around a little bit. Super nice.
Oh, like, that is so cool. That is so cool. And, like, man, it's literally what the kid found.
What the girl found. What's funny is I didn't know that was this episode, and I didn't know that was a thing. We got these, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And then I watched this episode, I'm like, oh, I know what that thing that I got is. So I just got like
fake
really,
fan.
I got really excited about that.
Oh, so that had to be really big for you. Like you just said, oh, I know, like that feeling of like, okay, I've got this. I don't really know what it is, but I know it's connected to Power Rangers. I'm gonna see this season, so I don't know. And then boom,
he didn't even know it was from the season. He just thought it was like a weird promotion thing. You know,
like it didn't even click for me that Roger Velasco. Like I knew that Roger Velasco is Carlos. You know, that I knew, but it didn't click with me that he was the guy that was at the event that was handing those out until I actually saw until I saw him go into the photo booth. Like as soon as he walked in there to change, I was like, wait a second, this is. Oh, so as soon as he walked in there, I hit pause and I went digging through the shit in my closet. I was like, I know I've got something from this. So I pulled that out. I was like, okay, everything at that point, just everything kind of came together.
This was a cool moment, a very cool pause. I know for me, I had a pause moment in this episode, and the blur just referred to it. Sylvia riding in space without a helmet.
Yo, that ending though, that was like the ending of Grease for me, man. That car just flew off into space. Like what? Let's go get some moon rocks.
I want to get some moon.
The only real thing that got kind of an issue with in this episode was when they went to see the doctor, and the doctor's telling what's going on. Like first I was like, okay, how did she find this out? And then they show up at the doctor's office. I was like, wait, this kind of goes again. I realized it wasn't really a thing back then, but there was still doctor-patient confidentiality. There's no way that doctor would have just sat there and told these random strangers what was going on with this little girl.
That have no like blood relation or like familiar relation with this young child.
He was so ready to tell anyone about any of his cases because
he had the pictures already and everything.
Yeah, that was just so bizarre to me. I'm like,
I don't know. I had the feels though. Like that got me in the feels. I was like, yo, I thought Sylvie was kind of a little snot in the beginning, but I was like, you know, it doesn't excuse her behavior, but it made me understand her as a person.
Yeah, like I completely understood everything in this episode, and I think the overall story was good. But again, my common complaint is I think the execution of it could have been a little bit better. Like, they instead of talking to the doctor, they could have been talking to her mom. Like there's no reason that the mother couldn't have given them that information.
Not at all.
That's true.
There's no reason at all. I definitely agree with you. That it just made no sense how you just I'll just give this information to you. Like we said, you're not related, you're not a guardian, you're not anything like that, and I'm just going to give you out info. Who else's info is he giving out?
Like
and then also the big turn when he was like, "Oh yeah, brother was sick, and he's dead." I was like, "What? Oh my! Wait, no. So he wasn't just sick; he's dead. Like, her brother is dead. Oh my god, that was like, oh, that sucks."
But then this also gave me like.
Oops, sorry, go ahead. It gave you.
No, it gave me like a little bit of trauma just because I was like, dude, this girl is gonna be the new Justin. Like this girl is about to replace Carlos in about like one episode. Oh. I'm like, man, I am so done with the Kid Rangers, you guys. Like, I don't want no more. And I was like, yo, Carlos murdering Sylvie, like, I cannot condone that, but I will understand. yeah, I'm just kidding about all that. But it was one of those moments for a second.
No, for me, I think it would have made more sense because we know from the beginning scene where we met Sylvie that her mom was one of the teachers at Angel Grove High, and that's how she knew Carlos, and I'm assuming she knew the rest of the rest of the team too. So I think it would have been really easy for them to set something up where Ashley had run into the mother somewhere, found out the story, and then relayed. Like the scene could have just been between Ashley and the mother, and then Ashley could have come back and relayed that information to Carlos instead of just making it this weird thing where Ashley walks in out of nowhere, tells Carlos, "Hey, you need to come hear this," and then they go and see a doctor. Like it was just I don't know. It was just weird. But outside of that, I thought the episode itself, for what it was fairly solid. Like the story was fine. It gave us a little bit of character development with Carlos, and introduced us, I guess, to some new facets. Like little girls having pagers that they can just give away to people.
Apparently, I mean, hey, you go, stranger.
But if it's to call the Power Ranger, to your own personal Power Ranger servant, heck yeah.
Yeah.
You know, she just asked for another one of those and be like, "Daddy, I lost it. Can I have another?"
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, the parents have to be working to try to make sure that they do keep her happy. Hey, she just lost her brother, so it's like, she may ask for things, and they'll be like, here.
Something else that I was thinking about that could have also made this a little bit better, now that I'm thinking about it, is instead of having been Carlos, it could have been Andros, who lost his sister and would have a way to connect to her a little bit more.
Ooh, that is
like
a
that.
Good one.
I feel like that would have actually
you need
been
to be a writer.
Like real drama.
Where are you, man? Gosh, well, okay, 15-year-old you or whatever, 20-year-old you, whatever. I think I was 20 by the time this came out. So yeah, 20-year-old you. Because we're like this age. Yeah. So 20-year-old you just walked into those offices and been like, "Stop what you're doing, you idiots! Clearly, Andros needs to be the brother. Andros needs to blah blah blah." And they're like, "Who are you? How'd you get in here?" we're actually on turbo. I don't even, whatever. I don't know. But you could have fixed this.
Fine. I don't know. That episode was still pretty good. It had the heartwarming, ending, and it had understanding where it's like, hey, people could get mad at you. It doesn't mean that they hate you. It doesn't mean they don't care about you. Sometimes we just lose our tempers, but also don't be a little turd.
Right.
And people won't treat you like that.
Although that same point kind of comes up in the next episode too.
It does. And I mean, I kind of like it. I like that we're getting back to these kind of moral stories for kids. We haven't seen one of these in a pretty long time, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, back to our cycle. So I wanted to get the one kind of outlier out of the way. But what about the other two? The Rangers Gone Psycho and A Rift in the Rangers.
So the first one I thought it was a good introduction to the Psycho Rangers. It was again going back to the whole execution thing. I wish the reveal that they were the Psycho Rangers would have been handled a little bit better or a little bit differently. I don't know what I personally would have done a little bit differently, but having them show up there in regular Ranger costumes, I think it would have been cool to see them just like all of a sudden transform into the Psycho Rangers as they start to attack, instead of seeing them in the regular Ranger costumes. Because like them being in the regular Ranger costumes, it lasted for all like 10 seconds and seemed like it didn't really have a point. Like it was like, okay, here, this thing is happening.
It was to confuse the media and be like, oh hey, we want to lure the media into this false sense and like destroy them on TV to like create chaos and destruction and fear.
That thread went away like immediately after that happened. Like I think it would have been really cool if that had been a continuing thing, that the Psycho Rangers, like if they were going to have the Psycho Rangers look exactly like the regular Power Rangers, if that would have been like their whole plot line was over the next
like to tarnish the reputation,
just
to
actually destroy them, so that anytime they would show up in public, now the regular public is like, oh shit, the Power Rangers are here, let's fucking get out of here.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. Like they could have done a few other things. They could have, besides that, what they just did, destroying some location. Next thing, of course, would have had to been robbing a bank. The next thing after that would be destroy some more stuff. And then after that, the Rangers would have had to meet up with them and be like, oh, hey, you know what the heck? And then we could have done it. But we could have also seen, like you said, just everyone else, all the citizens were like, oh, the Rangers are horrible. A little few clips from the news. The Rangers, they're the worst thing to happen to Angel Grove. Blah, 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 And then that one clip of the little kid that's like, they were my heroes. And then the kid cries, and then it's like, we have to do something. And
I mean, even one step beyond that, even like they could have gone into like the DC like Gordon Godfrey type arena, and like because we saw in the one episode that the Yellow Ranger was able to change her appearance to look like that old lady that was coming down the stairs. They could have easily made one of the made another one. Like this could have been, I guess, the Silver Ranger could have been a news anchor that was just like faking stories with the Psycho Rangers just to constantly keep the bad news cycle going.
I think that's too complicated for kids, man. To show that in like a 22-minute episode and have everything else.
We got 6 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, but still. See, so I'm telling you, just the robbing a bank, and then after that, the news montage of people saying, "Oh, they suck," and then that kid crying, that would have sold it. That would have been it.
I did really like the fight between the yellow and the pink Psycho Rangers and the regular Rangers. Like when they took when they took the Pink Ranger, or sorry, no, it was the Yellow Ranger. Yeah, they took the Yellow Ranger, and she was being held prisoner. But then the Yellow Ranger and the Pink Psycho Ranger started fighting with each other.
Oh yeah,
because because one of the things that I think I'm constantly complaining about with this show is kind of the same thing that I complain about with like the CW shows, where like people don't, like normal people don't say, I'm a good person, I'm a hero, or I'm a villain, I'm evil, I'm a bad guy. Like that's not, like Mitch McConnell isn't up there going, ha 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 ha, all of you, you know.
Or is he?
No, maybe he is. But
who knows?
You know, it's just, it's weird for me to see like people refer to themselves as heroes and villains, because it feels like they're just doing their thing. Like that's just who they are.
Hey Josh, so the Blur says it's interesting because that same story that you're talking about, it did happen in Mega Ranger, where the identities of the Rangers is blown and people just don't want the Rangers around them anymore. Huh. So Japan actually did it, like a pretty close iteration of that story. And America was like, let's dumb it down just a little bit, which is a little unfortunate. Or maybe they just didn't have as many episodes to work with. But yeah, I mean, the infighting with Cassie and Ashley, and the Blur also makes another good point, saying like Ashley and Cassie fighting again, but at least it's not over a boy this time. They are actually having a like, if you ever have housemates, this is an argument that you're gonna have at some point in your living situation, and it's so real.
Yes, it's real. Emotions flare. People get hurt.
Even if you're the best of friends,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
and it shows how petty it is too. Where it's just like, dude, she could have died, and that was the most petty thing. Why am I angry over it? But it's so real.
Mm-hmm. Like so many arguments about why is this plate been in the sink for the past 3 days? Like, sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just the way it is. But once again, it's so much built up, you know. And for those two, they've had them go against each other now. This is the second time. So it's like, even though they're supposed to be best friends, I mean, even the best of friends can be someone that does annoy you, and there can be that kind of, you know, we need some space.
Yeah. No matter how much you love someone and be around someone, they are going to be annoying at some point.
Yes.
You know? And it doesn't mean that you hate each other. You can argue and still be friends. And I feel like that's a pretty good message. I feel like a lot of shows actually don't show that as much. You know, like having a proper fight over something that is,
just
you know,
really
like
hideous
an
and
everyday
dumb.
thing. Yeah. And I like that. They could be friends.
That's one thing that makes me sort of happy about being single and live alone in the current situation, is that I don't have to deal with like just getting sick of the person that I'm living with.
I mean, you're in a lucky situation right now. It could end at any time, though.
That is absolutely true, and that is a nightmare that I wake up in a cold sweat from every night.
Well, a nightmare that the Rangers woke up from in a cold sweat for quite a while were the Psycho Rangers. Now, moving on to the last episode, where we actually got to see, was it Red and Black fighting each other now? Was that the issue on the last episode, or not?
No, it was Pink. That was Cassie and Ashley were fighting.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the Red Ranger, the Red Psycho Ranger, and the Black Psycho Ranger fought on the second episode.
No.
They were like, because they were.
I don't think that was.
No.
I think it was just kind of like a power struggle. Like Red wanted to take care of them, but Ashanam was like, "No, we're gonna take them down one by one."
Yeah. Because at the end of this last episode, they got rid of the yellow Ranger. So now the Psycho Rangers are down a Ranger.
That's right. No, but the thing is that infighting that they did have was interesting, because it was like Red Ranger was on the battlefield, kind of like getting ready to take them out. And then here comes the Black Ranger circling around them, grabs him, then they just like disappeared. And it was just like, okay, yeah, that was during the...
That was the first episode.
That was the one with Zane.
That was the first episode.
Weren't they fighting? Yeah.
I think so. So the thing is, like, what I'm seeing more and more through the episodes is that, that there's a lot of infighting with them.
Well,
it's all about ego,
if you want to turn this into like Dungeons and Dragons type terminology, the Psycho Rangers are all chaotic evil. Like they're all like, none of them like the idea that they have to report to Astronema. None of them like the idea of having to work with the other ones. They're all there to get what they want, and the fact that they're working with the others is just out of more or less having to reach their goals.
It's a means.
So do we know if the Psycho Rangers, are they people inside of suits, or are they more like Ecliptor and can transform, but their natural state is that?
I don't know.
Are they wearing armor, or is that like an exoskeleton? I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, well,
because like the Quantrons, I thought the Quantrons were like putties, and that's just like
the
way they look, like their species. But it looks like you can strip them. Either that, or the Rangers last week did Texas Chainsaw Massacre and wore their skins. But I'd like to think that they're costumes,
Yeah, I'm gonna go for that was like their armor stormtrooper type stuff.
Yeah.
But for the Psycho Rangers, we're gonna see a lot more of them outside of those suits. So
okay, nice.
They are suits. They are suits.
Okay, I like that idea. I'm glad they went with that. I want to know that they're people. I kind of want to see if they could be turned into the next Ranger series. Like I always wanted that, like the bad guys to become good.
Whoa! Well, okay, you're gonna kind of enjoy.
We kind of get that. And that's another thing that happens all the time in these CW shows is we see people who were villains in like season 1 or season 2 now like season 11 or season 12 now they're working with the heroes, and it's like, okay, wait, weren't you guys like enemies? Yeah, you hear music.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the heck? Okay, cool.
But it's true because it's a trope in Power Rangers too, because we get introduced to Tommy, who's being like possessed by Rita. We had Kat, who was also like being possessed, turned to good. Yeah, we had Kat. We have like we have this kind of a lot. So I want to see these Psycho Rangers that are like, oh man, because Astronema too. Like we already know that like she is naturally kind of good and logical, but she's being the cyborg power right now. So
right. So yeah, I'm like as we get closer to the end of this season, I'm getting more and more excited for what's coming next, just to see how it progresses. Because I know that this is the end of the Zordon era, but we know that at least one of these characters is coming back in the Lost Galaxy season, and that it takes place in the same continuity. So I'm kind of interested to see where they're going and through with this.
I agree with you. I do want to find out exactly what does happen. So this is kind of interesting.
Matthew Thompson writes something kind of interesting. He has a theory that red, pink, black, and blue were actually the rest of the Andros and Zane's team that was killed. I like that. That would be super fun.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That would be an interesting story. I love that.
Oh my god, that would be good. Oh, that could really. That's pretty good.
But yeah, and then also. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so Pikachu Master also says, "Oh my god, the ending was so super funny when Ashley and Cassie pretend to fight to get out of cleaning."
Oh,
so it's like I like that turnaround. I thought that was such a fantastic ending, like where they're just like,
and
now that they're scamming the boys.
As soon as Carlos said, "We'll take care of it," I was like, "I know what's happening here."
Yeah. Right. It was
like so funny.
Yeah, but it wasn't because like there's a lot of times when like you can kind of predict what's going to happen, and you're like, I saw that coming a mile away. But there's other times when you can see something coming, and you're like, oh, I know this thing's gonna happen. This thing is gonna happen. Oh, that thing happened, and that was what happened here.
It was definitely a fun ending. This was one of the better, I feel like, Power Ranger endings for sure. It was just a fun way to kind of like wrap everything up.
I agree. So since we are closing in on 6 here, a little bit after 6 o'clock, I'm gonna go ahead and ask everyone in the chat here watching what you rate these 3 episodes. We will give you our ratings as well, but then next week I think we'll probably modify our rating for the whole 6 episodes because I think there's a lot of that like kind of like crossover with the storylines. So Dan, let's start with you. What do you think about the first half of the Psycho Saga?
Okay, well, the first half of Psycho Saga for me is pretty good. I'm getting exposition. I'm getting interaction with Rangers, with characters that I never thought they would interact with. I'm also seeing both sides of the army. I'm seeing the good and the bad, the pull between the two. A lot of ways in which they're similar, hence pink and yellow fighting on both sides. So it's like I'm liking that and hearing more about their powers. Like the whole sucking your brain thing and getting your memories and being able to match you one for one. That is so cool. It's like, well, how can you really, like people always say, oh, beating a teammate is hard. Beating yourself is even worse. How are you going to do that? I don't know if it's actually going to be something you can do. So I love all of that. I love the potential for what I may see. So definitely these 3 so far get a 5 from me.
That's pretty good. That's actually the rating I'm going to give all of these episodes. For all the same reasons. I think the Psycho Rangers look super cool. I like that they're formidable. I also like that Astronema now, I don't know what kind of game she's playing, if she's playing the double cross game or if she actually does want to overthrow Dark Spectre. I like that where it's like, we're going to drain him of his energy. Like, I don't know if she's going to be becoming the big bad or she's going to do one of those like, just kidding, I'm working for the good and I'm from the inside out. But I'm like, these episodes really piqued my interest in this whole story overall. So right now it is actually at a 5. And usually our most critical member, what say you?
All right, yeah. so I'm torn because I really enjoyed the overall story for each of these, but again I had some issues with how it was executed. So I'm getting a 4 out of 5, which is still, I think for me that's still a good score. But that middle episode there, that was just kind of filler. Like, just the issues that I had with the exposition and how all the information came to us that was happening in that episode, it just didn't work. I do expect over the course of the next 3 episodes though for that to go a little bit in the other direction though. I think I'm gonna end up liking the next 3 a little bit more than I like these first 3, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and then in the chat, so we have Mikey Nerd Talk who gives it a 4.5. Jared Hodges gives it a 5 out of 5. Larry Newbill gives it a 4. Blackwing gives it a 5 out of 5. The Blur gives it a 4. Love Psycho Rangers does Matthew Thompson. Jonathan gives it a 3.5 out of 5. Matthew gives it a 5 out of 5. Thomas Frank. Wow, we got a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Thanks for actually participating this week, guys.
Thomas
Franco gives it a 5. Pikachu Master gives it a 5. Jonathan, something for Joe. Edward Sanchez Productions also gives it a 5. Like, they are all fairly high ratings. It is on the upper scale. I think we're all super excited now. Like, this is the first time where I'm like, yeah, these story arcs are pretty cool. Josh, is Josh on?
Yeah.
Where?
What?
Your face is gone.
My face is gone?
What?
Are we still streaming?
Yeah, we're still up. We're still good. For right now.
Okay, just kidding. That is fine. I feel like we need to wrap up soon because Josh disappeared, which probably means, you're back. You're back on the other side of Daniel now.
Oh, weird.
For
I
me,
don't know.
for my personal.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
That is bizarre. Everything looks like it's still working on ours, so hopefully everyone in the chat and watching can still see us. I showed that there's 18 people here. We were at like 21, 22 not too long ago, which... Thank you guys for this show. We typically don't have as many as viewers as the regular Ranger Wrap Up has on Saturday, so I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in to join us. And
especially with our tech problems, we appreciate
yeah. For real, like, it's funny. We had more people come in after we restarted than we did in the first half, so I am really thankful for that. Later on tonight, I'm not sure if we have a new Rage Cage tonight. If we do, that will be on at 7:45, right before the wrestling show. Tonight, they're going to be talking about AEW 2020. Or not AEW. AEW is the name of the thing. It's whatever the event was that just happened. They'll be talking about that tonight, and then about an hour later, Elle and I will be live on Twitch talking about the new episode of Rick and Morty while partaking of some mind-altering substances.
Flowers.
Pretty flowers.
Look at the flowers. Donnie Pearson. Thank you, Donnie Pearson, and appreciate it. Love you, man. And he also gave the episode a 5. So not bad. I think with that, like you said, we've covered everything. We've even covered the plugs. So with that, we want to tell you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, it's great to talk to you guys and talk about something that's fun. Power Rangers. We'll look forward to talking to you guys next week while we do the tail end of the Psycho Saga. Until then.
Later, guys.